Thank you so much for coming to talk to us. This is our good friend Marin McElhaney, and we think she has an inspiring story of rebirth and transformation. And we think women are really going to get a lot of wisdom and insight just from hearing her talk about her journey so far. You've had a whirlwind of life changes happen in a short period of time.
Yeah, I was looking at the calendar. It's been about a year. It's been about actually a full year of planning and moving forward. And I've known you for a while. And so, yeah, about this time last year, I've kind of made that difficult decision to get divorced. I don't even know if you actually make that decision. You make the decision to leave first. And then that comes with a whole bunch of, emotions and whatnot. But it wasn't, that's never an easy decision or a quick decision, never when there's children involved. But then there's just, I grew up in a family where you get, 3 strikes, you're out. But then I was on my 5th strike. And then there becomes a strike that you can't put under the rug. You can't ignore. It's so bad. It's so bad. There's a lot of things you can live with, and then there's just some that you can't. And then you have to make that decision. And making the decision is actually, at that point, the easy part. And then dealing with the repercussions. When you start not being able to see your kids as much as you did before, and when you don't see your bonus kids, when you make that decision and you're going through a divorce and you realize they're graduating from high school, and you being there is going to put the focus on the drama and not on their special day, so you don't go.
A lot of sacrifices.
Yeah, that one still stings. That one still really stings.
I'm seeing and feeling so much emotion right now,
that was
empathizing with you, but also just seeing you be so vulnerable and open with us. And I appreciate you sharing your heart right now.
Well, I haven't really talked about that one before, but you have to make eventually when the smoke clears, you just make the right decision for the kids. And if you could focus on that, almost you get like a sense of clarity immediately. I come from a long line of preachers and teachers and farmers and a couple football players. Mm-hmm. But, the one thing that was just clear through all of their careers, especially my mother's, was to focus on children. And I think that probably about, after 5 or 6 months of self-care, going to the gym, trying to refocus, trying to rebrand, then eventually, rediscovering what your motto is going to be. And that builds on itself every day. But if you can find one thing that just that is clear, that you're just like, this is right. This is the right thing to do. Everything else, I don't really know what's going on, but this is the right thing to do. And that was to focus on the kids, what's good for the kids. And through that, I would say about 5 months into it, with some good friends, going to the gym, getting those endorphins, I came up with this idea just to kind of rebrand my life. And that was to buy a farm.
So branding here is, we're talking about branding, but this is in so many different ways. Because when I think about even branding, it correlates to farming, there's.
Yeah.
And you today showed up with chickens
or ducks. Ducks.
Michelle's from the city.
Yeah, I'm not an animal girl. So I love that we're having this conversation because I need to learn. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. We have ducks in the studio, you guys.
So
cute.
When I bought this farm, I said we were going to start getting animals, and I talked to Artis, and she said, well, can we get ducks?
Artis is your daughter, and she is 5 or 6
She's
now.
6 now.
Oh my gosh. They grew up so fast.
And so I promised her at one point we would get ducks. So it's almost a year later, and we have 4 ducks. 2 girls, 2 boys. Now, they came with little bracelets to identify which are the girls and which are the boys. But Artis took them off.
Oh, no.
So we don't know, but they're all going to stay together. But they have gone everywhere with us now. So I just kind of let them snuggle in there.
Oh, they're just
your
crawling all
mama.
over you.
But yes, this is just one of the. We now have. Sorry, buddy.
So if you hear all the little chirping going on, I mean, these are live animals today. This is so awesome.
Live animals in the studio today.
So you will. After this is done, you'll definitely get some duck snuggling time.
Yeah.
All the endorphins in the world from the gym do not amount to duck snuggling.
Oh.
Duckling, especially. I don't know what it is. It's a newfound thing. I had no idea. They showed up in the mail.
Like
You know what?
Specially
Honestly,
delivered.
I just dove right into this, and through Instagram and other people that are homesteading, and I literally I said, you know what? I come from generations of farmers, and even though I'm a little bit far removed, I'm like, you just got to learn by taking chances. And so I literally called up this hatchery. It's 100 years old. I figured they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And I ordered ducks, and it's the McMurray hatchery in Tennessee, I think, or Illinois, but they came from Tennessee, and they literally give you text updates of where your ducks are. And they showed up at the post office at 6 a.m. and I had to go down there and say, I'm here for the ducklings. And
I'm going to collect my ducks.
And like, it was like, I was, they had to check my ID. They had to check my address. This is, I'm like, who is going to come down at 6 a.m. and say, I'm here for ducklings? I mean, come on.
Who's stealing ducks?
Yeah. So anyways, I mean, they've gone everywhere with us. We took them to Tahoe.
Oh.
Under a heat lamp. But yeah, so I fulfilled my promise to my daughter when I bought this farm. We now have ducks, but we have a lot of other things too. Now we have 5 mini ponies. We have, unfortunately, it's a really funny story, but now we have 10 guinea pigs. Oh God, if you want a guinea pig, if anybody wants a guinea pig, please contact me.
How do they contact you? We'll put it in show notes.
Yeah.
But just like, what's your...
Yeah, our farm's name is Happy Hooves, California. So it's happy_Hooves, California. And we're on Instagram. And talking about that, the first thing we did when we moved into the farm, we thought about our brand and what that was going to mean. And kind of our motto and our mission, and that kind of directed us down the path. So once we have 3 different brands, and one that we use for our livestock, one that we use for our school programs, and the other one we use for fun swag. You got to have some fun swag. So
absolutely.
So you are about schools. You're taking the mini horses or their ponies to schools now. You just started doing that.
Yeah. So I actually have done it for 2 years with another lady, and there's a company accreditation system called PATH. It's therapeutic riding and equine therapy. So I've been doing that for 2 years, and just thought it was time to get my own minis. And so quickly that escalated quickly too. So now I have 5 minis.
Wow.
I have 3 that can do the work, and then 2 that are rescued from a kill pen, that we are basically rehabilitating them. And one of them has severe PTSD. So I actually work with veterans with her. So some I can go to schools with, some I can go to veteran homes with. And then we also do senior homes and hospitals.
Amazing. So you match up basically the personality or the horse's trauma with who they're going to be helping.
Actually, that's, very true. What's going to be best for that student or patient or person, and also what's going to be best for the horse. So we don't really let them work more than 2 hours. Horses can feel your heartbeat up to about 20 feet away.
I've heard that. It's amazing.
So when you get to the animal, they know what mood you're in. And they also go through that journey. So they know, are you nervous? Are you scared? And so they feel all this before you even get to them. That's why you kind of have to walk slow, kind of let them smell you, give them a little moment, because they've already been encountering you a lot longer than you've been encountering them.
So I'm holding in a little laughter, and I really wish I would have talked to you before I experienced my own equine therapy. My husband and I went to a couple's retreat, and it was all very therapy based. And so when I looked on the list of what our extra activity was, it was equine therapy. Marin, I had no idea what that really meant. Just like, I thought our ducks were chickens right now. Like, I don't know animals at all. And so all of that was brand new. And I'm going to just share very briefly, because I'm loving everything you're saying and I want to hear so much more. But the experience of the person receiving the therapy without even really knowing anything about horses, it was so fascinating. And it was probably the most profound experience I had at this retreat in all the things that we did. And we worked on communication. We worked on, I can't even tell you, just so many different things. But that interaction with the horses and what you learn about yourself and what we learned about the horses and each other and how we even interact with each other, all by spending that time very slowly, very gently, was amazing. So I think this is so phenomenal what you're doing, bringing these animals to people.
Into words, isn't it? It's like it happens.
It is.
It's happening to you, but it's very hard to put it into words what exactly is happening.
It's an experience. You just have to kind of go through it.
I think they're mirrors. I think they're definitely mirrors to your soul and mirrors to your relationship. You talked to a lot of horse girls, and you're going to love this. I brought my ex to ride my horse, and he stayed on exactly 7 seconds. They know.
That's telling.
They know.
Wow.
And, I bring people that are very special to me to meet my retired mare, who I think is probably one of the smartest animals I've ever met. And she has amazing breeding. She came from the #1 stallion in the USA, from Barbara Ellison's special stallion. She was his firstborn. And there is something to be said about that. These traits that they find in horses: intelligence, athleticism, empathy. Empathy is so hard to teach kids. And I know for myself, I was a very tough kid. I came from a single mom. Like, she was a principal. She was, my dad was a Navy pilot, very tough people. Saying I love you is just not in my Presbyterian rough farmer upbringing, and so when you meet these horses, they have so much empathy and so much patience, and that's really hard to teach, and they taught me that growing up, and so now when I take them, just recently, yesterday, we went to the high school and we worked with what they're considered like at-risk youth. Like, they might drop out, they're having trouble in class, they've had some family situations that, are just unbearable. And so they're just considered at risk. And a lot of them are like you. They've never even seen a horse. You've never walked a horse, never been around one. And at first, everybody was very nervous. And then, they spent an hour with the horses. And by the end, they were brushing them and petting them and walking them and just taking a breath. They weren't on their phones. And in the beginning, they were all on their phones. They wanted to take selfies. And then eventually, they're like, I'm like, you need both hands. And, and a lot of the teachers said, well, this is the first time that they've let go of their phones and probably the whole year.
You kind of have to be present around an animal that big.
Yeah, you do.
But just like the moment of that freedom of these kids being able to let go of their phones. That alone was worth it right there.
We talk so much, Greta and I, amongst ourselves, and also a lot of times with our guests too, just about kids, of course, but also kind of getting back to like the roots of things and how, we've gotten so far away from community in a way of us sitting down together, making eye contact, sharing experiences in the moment, where the devices, all the distractions of the world have just really infiltrated. And I think, I would imagine, farming, like having these animals, they're rooted, like these kids, it is so fascinating that you're able to even bring that into like a more modern environment. That's what I think is so cool, is that they don't even have to leave where they are.
I brought shavings into your beautiful studio.
Yeah, we're calling them duck dust.
Yes, my chicken sparkles.
Chicken sparkle. But and I'm totally cool with that. I don't mind. But because to me, I'm looking at that and it's like, whoa, this is nature coming in. And I think that's what's so awesome about these programs is, a lot of times we have these big ideas where in order to get the kid off the phone or we have to go big, right? And it's like, no, just even bringing this to them in their own environment and allowing them to see what nature provides and having that moment and letting the teachers watch this too. I'm sure you mentioned that, but honestly, blew their minds.
I think in the end, like I have more, the vice principal came out, the teachers were walking the horses. I think it provided a little bit more relief for the teachers in the end than it did the kids. I mean, they were just, I don't think they think about themselves all day long. It's 100% focused on the kids. And for a minute there's this horse like giving them snuggles or, going, the horse makes decisions, but then, once you bond with the horse, it will follow you around. And like just getting that, that kind of recognition that the kids don't give them. They fight to break into these kids' worlds all day long, and it's exhausting, and I feel like that's why we only make the minis work 2 hours, because they take on all these emotions.
Sure.
And so I basically, we have a team and they only work for 2 hours. They go back to the trailer. If we have a long day, we'll bring in a second team. But yeah, they're working. I mean, these horses are really working. They're sponges. So, I mean, that's a really great part of what we're doing. And I was kind of doing that before, but then it snowballed into more. So now we have these ponies that I kind of built this heaven for on the farm, but now it's turned into a lot more. It's turned into kind of a sustainable farming school. Wow. And, the company is owned by my business, and our business is childcare. We've been doing it for 38 years, and we take care of about 1,000 kids a day in the Dublin Pleasanton School District. So we have a really strong foundation about curriculum and caretaking, and we're licensed. So we only have one teacher per 12, 14 students, and that is disappearing mostly just because of cost and demand, but because we are large enough and we're a nonprofit, we keep those prices low for the parents. So we found kind of I don't know, a system that works. Staying nonprofit, we can actually, not gouge our parents. And we've always had a summer camp program. And so now we have been able to build out the farm long enough that we're going to be able to do a farm to school sustainable farming camp. And that is what I'm so excited about. And if you would have asked me last year what would have happened, I mean, this has really come full circle. So definitely the equine therapy is, in a way, my way of giving back, my way of providing service to the community and also using my skills. But what has come out of it, and what I think is so great, is if you go out there and you start volunteering and you start doing something on a small scale, you find maybe your community, or you find something that needs to be fixed, and then you find other people that are doing the same thing, and you can become part of a movement. And that's really what has come full circle. This is a point I wanted to share with you guys. It's a little bit vulnerable. When I left my divorce, I had so many problems that were, like created in some ways, through 9 years of marriage. Everybody's guilty of creating something. By not acknowledging the problems in my marriage and sweeping them under the rug, I created a monster, And so I think eventually with divorce, in retrospect, one thing is definitely common in every divorce: everybody loses. Nobody wins. So you just have to figure out what you're willing to lose. There's no winning. There's no and if you feel that way, I'm surprised, because it feels like everybody loses. But you also have all these problems that you gaslight yourself or other people gaslight. And I wanted to get rid of those problems so bad. I wanted to have real life problems. And that's what this farm is to me. That's what the therapy is I have real life problems. I have life or death. I have triage. I have, feeding a schedule that needs to be kept, and for cleanliness, for health reasons, for and I guess how do you say it? Like, I have a standard. It's not. It's a very clean, lovely, well organized place. And that I was able to take this tornado that was in my head and make it real, and then have real problems. We had a chicken die.
Mm-hmm.
It was very sad. It's like it's our first casualty.
There was death on a farm. I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't have a full-on farm growing up, but I remember when we'd lose a bunny to a hawk or something, and it teaches you so much. It really does kind of make the other stuff kind of quiet down and not seem as big of a deal when you
I was
have
like, okay,
loss.
well, this one was finally coming around. I collected the eggs. I was like, oh, this is the last egg you laid. It's just stupid stuff, but like, you get out of your head. So that's what it's kind of been for me. But, now going into this summer camp program, we're doing a month, and every Tuesday and Thursday, and the kids get bussed in, and there's, 2 learning stations in the morning, and then they have lunch, and then 2 learning stations in the afternoon. And then, each of them get to go through a petting zoo to kind of interact with the animals. So you guys are welcome to come.
I can't wait to check it out.
There's lots of babies. I think the star of the show, though, is definitely going to be the micro mini Scotland Highland cow.
Beautiful. I've seen, is it him?
Little red. So everybody's got their spring break plans, right? Well, ours is to go down and pick up this cow. We're gonna have some fun stops along the way, but yeah, we pick up Little Red from this amazing lady that, if you ever want to get somebody that you interview further away, I don't know if you guys do that, but there's so many amazing ladies out there. I love her story. She's a 3rd generation rancher, and her ranching operation, just like most things in California, it's so expensive. The hay is expensive. The delivery is expensive. Veterinarian costs are expensive. It's really hard for ranchers to survive in California right now. So her family ranch was going under. They were going to have to sell it. And she came up with this crazy idea and brought it to her family and said, I want to breed micro mini Scotland Highland cows so that, hobby farms and schools and everybody can have a cow. This cow only needs a 1/4 acre to graze on, whereas each cow needs an acre. So you have to have a larger space, but these ones only require that. And you can also, feed them hay or whatnot. So
They're freaking adorable. They look like little stuffed animals. If you don't know, those are the ones with the long hair that looks like it's always in their eyes. They're just covered in all this long hair.
You just brush them. And I think there's a girl out there that literally uses the Dyson air curler. I mean, I was curling my hair this morning, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, oh, I could do this to my cow.
Fancy cow.
Oh God, that might happen.
I could see you doing that, actually.
And he's gonna be like, I'm a boy. So
not today.
Like, not
She
today.
looked fabulous.
Nobody knows yet. But this woman, like, she's really inspirational because it took off so much that now she does IVF breeding.
Oh.
So she does 4 auctions a year. So I had to, go into an auction to get this cow, and it was right before Christmas. And we got it. And so then they send you, a framed photo of it to put under the tree. And so like Artist was able to unwrap it, and I'm like, we got a cow.
Merry Christmas.
So I'm very excited for that he will be the star of the show, I think, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Just love your whole story, Marin, from start to finish. I just think how incredibly brave you are. I don't know if you view yourself that way, but you definitely should. I think it takes a lot of guts to do what you've done to make. I like how you broke it down by it was one decision, one right decision after another. And that's kind of what got you through that foggy, confusing time that I think so many women experience when they are contemplating, do I leave? Do I stay? What about the kids? Yeah, you're right. Everyone's going to get hurt to some capacity. You cannot go through it and fully protect the kids and fully protect your own heart. Or, I mean, there are casualties. But at the end of the day, you have to make that one right choice after another. And look where it has gotten you. And I think, look at what your daughter is witnessing. Look what my mom can do. Look, she's invincible. She is strong. She is brave.
I think, though, at this point, she just comes home and says, what new animal do we have today?
But you definitely are an example of, to her, I'm sure, she's witnessing you. Taking
she's a
these
lot
steps.
like me, and the way I was with my mother. And, sometimes you don't know how great they are till older and older in life. My mother and I run a business together. We talk 5 times a day. So sometimes we function at such a high frequency, and we go, 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 go. We have a retreat every year, and I know you guys do retreats, and they're so important. I think we're learning at this point, they used to be so scheduled. And as we get older, we're starting to realize that retreats are supposed to have no schedule in some ways. Like, we do spa retreats and we share the curriculum that we learned during the year, but we need to start making it very loose and flowy because everything in your life is so scheduled. So I try to do that. Also, I just feel like I'm functioning at a very high frequency for this whole year. And I'm going to try and turn it down a little bit and enjoy some of the fruits of my labor. Let's talk about those dating apps a little bit.
Oh,
my
that's fine. Let's get into that.
Because this is kind of funny. So
Yeah, after 9 years being married,
oh my God,
you're back in the game.
I'm sure you guys talked about it, but I mean, it's hilarious out there. And as a joke, but it was so funny. I joined farmersonly.com.
Oh,
Okay, I was wondering if there was something for like farm girls.
Oh my God, it is still. And like honestly, I still have it. I still have a god off of it because it's just so funny. There's like farmers in Utah or Alabama or whatever, and they're just like, I've got horses and acreage and whatever, and like they literally think you're just going to jump in your car and drive there.
I mean,
Wow.
some cowgirls might.
Totally.
So, but no, and it's been pretty funny. And honestly, I don't even know how to unsubscribe. I think it's so old school that they might not even have an unsubscribe button.
When you're in, you're
I
in.
literally just started a whole new email address to get away from farmersonly.com.
You can use it for amusement now.
If I ever go back, I'm like, whoa. But just, I think I was given a little gift because I am a little bit of an old school romantic and I don't like apps. And so I was just busy doing my life. And I, signed up to be the soccer mom, the team mom for, my daughter's first soccer team. And, making banners used to be, like, I don't know if you grew up, like it was like a piece of felt and you'd put your names on it and you marched in the little parade and you held it. Great. Now it needs to be like PVC pipe and vinyl and like graphics.
Yeah, printed from a company. Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, so I'm getting through all this. And then I get to Home Depot and it's August. And I just adopted 2 puppies that we saved from a Fresno kill shelter.
Girl, you got a lot going on. I don't know how you're doing it.
How does this even fit into farm life?
So, yeah, in Fresno, they kill puppies. They have such a problem with people not neutering and spaying their dogs that in Fresno, they kill puppies. And so these 2 vets had these adorable brother and sister puppies, Aussie Labs, and was just like, we can't do it. So they got in their car, they drove all the way to Concord, and they left it at Rescue Dog. Or actually, this one was East Bay Rescue and Refuge. And so they put them up on the website. I was like, immediately, love these dogs. So now I had agreed to take them after their foster mom. Well, foster mom had to go get back surgery. So surprise, you're taking the puppies now.
Oh.
Not ready, but it's like 100 and something degrees in Livermore, so I can't leave them in the car. So here I am in Home Depot with the soccer banner and the PVC pipe and the PVC pipe oil. And they're so long, and I'm like, how do you cut these things? And then I'm looking at the wall of the connectors And there's so many connectors. I don't know if you've seen PVC pipe, the pipe aisle. It's overwhelming.
Everything in Home Depot is
I know.
overwhelming to me.
And then Artist is there in her soccer uniform, dancing around, and I'm trying to and I got the puppies, trying to keep them in the cart, and this very handsome man comes around the corner, and he looks at me, and I look at him, and he looks at the situation. I got the banner out, I got the pipe, I got the puppies, I got the dancing daughter, and he just said, "You look like you could use some help." And I said, "Yes, yeah, it's a little obvious." And so he helped me cut the PVC pipe. He helped me find the connectors. And my daughter comes up to me and she goes, "Mom, we should say thank you."
Oh,
And I'm like, "Yes, yeah, we definitely should say thank you. It's really nice of him." She's like, "No, we should do something nice for him." I said, "Okay, well, what should we do?" And she said, "We should take him to ice cream."
Oh,
I was like, "Oh, okay."
it's very old fashioned.
It is. And so I said, "Well, you can ask him." And so she goes up to him and says, "My mom and I would like to take you to ice cream for helping us." And I said, "But you have a soccer game, so this has to be after." And she said, "Would you like to go to ice cream with us after soccer?" But he said, "Yeah, I like ice cream, sure." And so I said, "Well, we're going to be at Lord's after the soccer game, so if you show up, we'll buy you ice cream." And sure enough, he showed up, and they both like mint chip ice cream, and we've been dating ever since.
wow. Artist, the little matchmaker.
Yes.
Wow.
So, and every time, it was funny in the first couple of months, every time we went to Home Depot, she's like, "Where's Tim?"
Oh,
She literally, I think she thought he worked there. So, but yeah, letting your children pick your date, I guess not such a bad idea.
yeah,
Good
it worked
dating
out.
advice.
Yeah.
Better than the cowboy app or
Oh my God.
rancher
Yeah.
app.
Yeah. These apps, I mean, I know they're kind of a necessary evil, but I'm so glad that we were able to escape them. Because I just feel my first impression of them is just how quickly you can go through it. And
Yeah.
if you start living that way, it's just instant gratification, and it doesn't give you a real chance to be human.
Yeah, there's no depth there. It's like I swipe right if you like the way they look, and
Right.
and they can say anything they want, really.
Lame.
So
Yeah.
But you know what? This is so cool because this is recent. And so gives these women hope who are out there that still think like, I can't just find somebody without being on an app.
Depot.
Home Depot, girls.
well, the ratio of men to women is pretty good at Home
Right.
Depot, so that's
So, and for Christmas,
idea.
yeah, I mean, I had my one cheese. He's very romantic and cheesy, and I'm not. I'm very this tough farm girl. But I did buy him a hammer. Then I got it engraved and says, "Let's do this."
cute.
Because it's the Home Depot slogan.
Yes. I do want to ask
I
you
know.
a little bit, or not even ask, but just give my input on like what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing from you. I just, I think how miraculous that the way your life has changed since making that decision. It's like I knew you when you were married, and then heard that you had gotten divorced, hadn't seen you. And I'm seeing a woman that is just beaming with light in front of me now. And hearing you talk about your journey, I really hope this gives women hope that if you are on the fence and you're not feeling fulfilled, your boundaries are in question in your relationship, there is hope. There is a beautiful light at the other side of that tunnel. If you're brave enough to go through it and make that decision, you're a perfect example of that. I just can see how everything in your life has fallen into place in a way that is really honoring who you are to your core. I mean, I know you've always loved horses, and that's been a part of your life, and taking care of children, clearly. But just the way it has all come full circle and encompassed every bit of your life now.
When you are caught in a divorce, whether you want to use the buzz term with a narcissist or whatever, you are constantly giving away your energy, your time, your effort. And when you get that all back, it's very scary. and you have to channel it, especially if you're a mother and with children and whatnot. And like the first night, you don't have your child, or you start going to a 2-2-3 or these weird schedules. You lean on your friends, but you have to find, because you've been giving so much. And even if you are putting it under the rug, or keeping up with the Jones and keeping a good face and pretending like it's not happening, that takes so much energy to do that. You don't even know it.
And you lose yourself along the way, because where's the time to check in with you and what you even want? You're just trying to keep all the balls in the air and stay afloat, make everybody happy, be there for your stepkids. I know that was a huge struggle for you. I remember talking to you, and that was like a big deciding factor for when you thought you could stay and stick it out. It's like, I don't want to lose that connection.
I've spoken with their mom. We've actually become better friends through this. And we had this moment, and I did not see this coming at all. And we had, a really good talk and coffee. And then like about an hour into it, she looks at me and she says, we're saying goodbye. And she just says, I want to thank you. You kept my kids safe. And I, never thought I would hear anything like that. But yeah, they're one's in college. The twins are in high school, and, they always had a very a strong mother too, so that I knew that they were going to be okay, and they are.
They'll never forget that impact that you had on them, and the wonderful bonus mom that you have been to them now that they're going into adulthood. It's like they're not going to forget that.
I think what I want to say as I'm hearing this whole story of yours and just seeing the woman that you are is I'm hearing a few different things. Number one, I think sometimes women are afraid though to also lean on a few things. One, like what really deeply speaks to them because they are in such giving mode all the time. What I have found from friends of mine who have gotten divorced is they really had to soul search and figure out like, who am I? What are my deep desires? What am I interested in? And like, when you get clear on those things, you're able to jump into circumstances and receive in different ways. And I love that, you're taking passions of yours and bringing them together and then creating, right? Because we are creators naturally, but like you've really created this farm and all the things that you're doing in it that are tapping into all the parts of you. But also, you mentioned, okay, when I made that decision too, talking to friends, right? And it's hard because to the world, we want to show a certain face. We want that mask of like, I got it together. I'm okay, But there are moments, you mentioned the first night without your child. Like, I'm sure that wasn't just oh, yay, I'm free kind of night, right? It's like my child is not in my, like, it's a releasing of control and sadness. I don't know. I don't want to speak for you.
Honestly, sometimes the first night you just sleep.
You just sleep. Okay.
Have you ever, like, I feel like we get to this point in our lives where like you got to find a friend that's willing to go away on a trip with you. And the first night you just sleep.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. They know that's a part of the deal.
Yeah.
Right. We're not going out to the bars.
Yeah,
we're not
gonna, yeah. But then, it sets in, and you just have to stay busy.
Well, because there are women, I think, who you're obviously a strong woman and you're obviously somebody who, like you said, you're high vibing, right? And so for you, it's movement and it's doing, right?
Yeah.
I know that there are a lot of women that shut down. And so even that first night of sleep turns into 2 nights of sleep, of 3 nights of sleep, of I don't even have it in me to do anything. So I think there's so much wrapped up in all this, but I love that your story is a story though of perseverance and hope for others and even just the way that you met the guy, at Home Depot. I mean, the fact that you're even open to like, taking on this role as soccer mom, team person.
Like, oh no, I'm maxed out.
That there's somebody out there that wants your mess because we're all some sort of hot mess.
Yeah.
I mean, and like your husbands are lovers of beautiful hot messes. And I
Probably
mean that in the
true.
most like
Yes.
actually wonderful way, because you're allowed to be creative. You're
Yes.
allowed to make your messes. And, you know, I think there's a song out there. I think it was Advanced Joy, but your mess is mine.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, and I think Brody played that on the ukulele once, and it
Oh.
just got to me. I'm just like, yeah, you know, this. And all my cards were on the table when he turned down that corner. I mean, there was I was hiding nothing. There's puppies in
Right.
the cart. There's
was
mess on the floor. My
Here it all is.
I had the messy hair bun, and
Oh my
my
gosh.
daughter's dancing around like a fairy in her soccer outfit. So I was like, this is it. I got nothing.
And we like ice cream.
Yeah, I'm not hiding anything.
Yeah.
So
show up as you are.
there
Love
is
that.
something about that I think people appreciate when you get off, because the apps hide everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so sometimes you do have to be fearless to be the hot mess that you are, and bring in a little chicken dust.
Little chicken dust.
The amazing thing, and what, you know, I used to tell people, oh, I need to go to a country that doesn't have Valentine's Day, or I'm never going to celebrate Valentine's Day again. This Valentine's Day, he took both my daughter and his daughter out to dinner at La Conda in Danville.
The new guy.
Flowers, balloons, amazing dessert. I mean, it was probably one of the most magical Valentine's Days I've ever had.
Wow.
And I didn't even think about what happened last year. I mean, could not believe that was actually happening.
You didn't have to go to another country.
No,
Right here in town.
no, maybe next year. Maybe I'll keep putting that out there. I actually researched it, and Indonesia does not celebrate.
Okay, so for all
anyone
the
that wants
ladies, who need to just like escape that, now you know.
Yeah.
Thanks, Marin.
But I'm just saying, it was like a really real thing. I thought I was like never going to be able to celebrate this holiday.
Another example of how it does get better after divorce.
It does. The first 6 months are hell. It's the longest year of your life. I'm probably about 2 weeks away from my divorce settlement. We finally are agreeing to sell the house next month. I mean, it takes time. It's when people say it's the business of divorce, it is a business.
Yeah, just
As
to
soon
get
as
through
you
that.
start like looking at that and like categorizing it. One thing I can tell, you know, if you are considering it, you definitely want to get yourself an amazing lawyer.
Women need to have representation. I do know a lot of women who don't do that right off the bat, and then they end up getting screwed because their ex has representation fighting
It's
for
tough
them.
though, because you have to come up with the money first. So you need kind of like, and this is real talk, you need about 10 grand. You need to, if you're going to be thinking about getting divorced, you need to have 10 grand. Because that's really what the retainer is out there for a good lawyer. And you will go through that. So
Quickly.
And you want to get with a private judge instead of going into, and that's another 5 grand, because you want to not be at the mercy of the public system. There's things along the way. And you definitely, you know, I was able to sell my house in San Francisco to get that money to continue the lawsuit.
Yeah, you always did keep something for yourself, which I think is important to share.
Yeah.
Maybe for the younger listeners going into marriage.
Yeah. I really, I mean, I told artists, you're not allowed to get married till you're 30. You need your own nest egg. I mean, you look at it in some ways like, you need, I hate to say it, it makes me sound like cynical, but you need to have a fallback plan.
Yeah.
You do. You gotta look out for your future.
But it's hard sometimes when you get in so young.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, you've known Steve forever.
Yeah. I had nothing. He had nothing.
Yeah.
We both had nothing. So that was.
But that's another way. Like, you know, the compromise there is a whole different level.
Yeah.
I didn't get married till 35. So I had like this whole life ahead of me. It was his second marriage. So, you know, it really is I definitely think there's just not one way around it. But if you are considering going into divorce, you definitely need to find some way, you know, family loan, something, because otherwise it will drag out to 2-3 years.
And even, you know, maybe put money away. This might be a controversial thing to say, but if you are in a relationship with someone who is abusive in any way, shape, or form, or narcissistic, and you feel yourself, your soul slowly, you know, fading away in that relationship, start putting a little money in a savings account here and there. like start stockpiling if that's what you need to do and you don't have any of your own coming in.
Well, and I feel like they need permission. So if you need permission, just know that they're probably doing it.
Well, I'll tell you, majority of the women that I've walked this journey with, because I have sat beside plenty. One, it was even just going to the banks and literally finding out that there were accounts that she didn't know about. And she didn't even know where to start with any of this because she was given an allowance. So she did not have any kind of nest egg prior to. But so the stuff doesn't just happen overnight. You know when you're getting close to like these decision-making times, right? Like, you know, when you're not happy in a relationship. And so the women that I have seen successfully come out of these things, they did start, whether they didn't have a job, they got one, you know, whether they didn't have their own money, they started saving money from somewhere.
And here's another controversial point that not a lot of people talk about. Misery loves company. And I've lost friends. I've lost friends because I'm happy, busy, and I don't have the time just to sit around and bitch and moan anymore.
Yeah.
And I've lost some friends because that's what, you know, they wanted to do, and that's what they are going to keep doing. And I definitely didn't think that was going to happen. So that's like a whole new point of kind of, you know, when you're here, people just start sliding down.
Yeah. But it
and
opens you up to new people coming in.
The circle's gotten smaller, stronger, but yeah, it's definitely gotten smaller, and you know, dealing with that. But honestly, I don't really have the time.
Yeah.
Right.
You're
So-
busy building a
So
farm,
it's either,
creating a life.
get on the ark.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah.
or you're gonna be left behind.
Totally.
But yeah, it's just something that I've noticed. But it's, you know, it's dealing with it.
And I've seen that too, even on the outside, where there are friends who also might pick and choose, right? And go like, well, he was my friend or she was my friend, or, you know, they're conflicted as to where to go from here. And I've seen groups of friends kind of separate based on one person's divorce, or those two are out and everybody else stays together. So many different factors that happen.
Yeah, I think when you are really focusing on, you know, your goals and what you want out of life, yeah, the rest does just kind of fall away and leave what's really important and what really matters. So
It's also tough because I had my daughter late in life. So I'm like 10 years older than a lot of our peer group and the school groups and stuff like that.
oh, you got a young spirit, girl.
I
and you
know,
look
which you
great.
would not know.
No.
But yeah, you know, sometimes you have to remind yourself of these things, and then you just move on. And then, you know, in my life, you know, last night I didn't want to go do night checks. But
What are night checks?
so just I go around every night just to make sure all the animals are healthy, have water, food, clean. I have a farm staff, and I need to, you know, make sure that they've gone through their checklist. And I can't sleep really. I mean, as much as it's cold and it's rainy and I don't want to go outside, but I do it, and it gives me peace of mind. And you know, everybody beds down and just prays that the full moon has been driving the roosters crazy.
Oh my God.
Oh my! It's like 1:30 and the moon's coming over, and they think it's the sun. So, but yeah, I just, you know, it's a good morning when the roosters don't crow till 5, and you know, and the puppies stay in bed a little longer. So this morning it was actually pretty good. Because I gave my ranch hand the day off today because he worked on Sunday, and I did everything. Was able to curl my hair, get my face on, and even, you know, remember to bring the ducks.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Scooping them up and putting them in a little cage and bringing them here had to have been a lot.
Yeah.
Well, I'm getting anxious to hold them. So I think we might have to move into that soon. Duck cuddling time.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's going to be, I mean, you don't even need me here. You're going to want me to leave them, I'm sure. So, okay, well, can I bring them to you?
Sure.
Yes. Bring them over.
Okay.
It's cute. They're in like a little puppy crate. I don't know if that's specifically
Yeah.
designed for ducks, but looks like a puppy crate. Oh my God, they're so naked.
All their little webbed feet. Hi.
So we just hold them. Oh, he's going crazy.
Oh, hi.
Yeah, the best way you just cup them and then
there's
keep
the
their
other
little
ones.
wings in so they don't.
Oh my gosh, my daughter is going to be so upset she missed this. One of my daughters wants to come to your farm.
So they haven't been named yet, so you guys can go ahead and name
They
them.
haven't?
No, yeah.
Oh
It's
gosh.
like a naming
Oh
ceremony.
my gosh. Look how
I know. He's so
You're too cute.
They are adorable.
Well, thank you, Marin, so much for coming and sharing your journey with us. It's so inspiring and beautiful to hear women like you share these kind of stories of transformation. And thank you for bringing these precious a little piece of your farm to our That's My Girl studio. Oh my gosh.
And now we get to name them. So once we shut down
yeah.
here, we get to actually pick names for these little cute
Okay.
ducks.
Well, this one I'm going to call Oprah because it likes the microphone.
That's good.
Aww.
So cute.
I'm gonna call this one Zen.
Oh, I love it.
Right.
Oprah and Zen.
Oprah and
My
Zen.
Oprah and Zen.
Closing out the
That's what we
show
got.
tonight.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Marin.
You're welcome. It's been a pleasure to be here.